Today I got a brand new HP laptop. I'm going to do a little upgrading inside and a clean install of Windows 10. I'm going to show you how to do that, so let's get started. Hey guys, how's it going? Dale here. Today I got a brand new HP 15.6 inch laptop. The exact model number of this laptop is 15-DY1024WM. A lot of these models are extremely similar, just slight differences inside and upgrade capabilities. But today I'm going to open it up and I'm going to put some new parts in it, and then I'm just going to do a clean install of Windows 10 2004 edition. Quick overview of the laptop, nothing too fancy. It's got a 10th generation Core i3 1005 G1 processor in it. It comes with 4 gigabytes of DDR4 and just a 128 gigabyte M.2 SATA SSD. This model does not support an NVMe M.2 SSD. I have tried in the past. It'll see it. You probably can even get Windows 10 installed, but you're going to have lots of issues. It's going to crash, blue screen's going to flicker, all kinds of weird stuff. So it comes with an M.2 SATA SSD, and that's what we're going to put in it. So unfortunately, even with a BIOS update, it's not going to support an NVMe drive and run stable at all. So not a huge deal, especially on a lower end laptop like this, but we're going to put a larger capacity one in today. Like I said, it's only 128 gig. The customer wanted to bump it up to a 500 gig. I'm using a Crucial M.2, the MX500 series, 500 gigabyte, but it's a SATA M.2 drive, not an NVMe, all right? It's got 2 slots for memory, which is nice. It's got one 4 gig stick in there now. I'm gonna remove that and put in 2 brand new sticks of Corsair DDR4. 2 8 gig sticks for a total of 18. Now this laptop will support up to 32 gigabytes of memory. I've tried it, it works great, but in this case we're going to go up to 16 gigs, so it'll be in dual channel as well. So I'm going to close the lid, I'm going to flip it over. Before you open up your laptop, I always tell people make sure you're protected against anti-static or static electricity. You want to use a wristband or have an anti-static bench that you're working on, or a pad or a mat. My bench tops, my floor throughout my store are all anti-static, and they're very soft, no scratching. They're designed for this kind of work. So I'm going to remove 2 exposed screws right here on the side. They're Phillips, and number 0 Phillips works good. So I'm just going to put, in this case, I'm going to use my little cordless screwdriver here. Pop these out. I don't normally remove these on camera, guys, but I want to show you how to get to those hidden ones back there, so I'm going to show you. So we have to remove these self-adhesive rubber feet that are on the bottom. You're going to want a really sharp, pointy tool to get underneath here without scratching. Just kind of lift it up like that and then slowly peel it off. They should go back on and stick just fine. If not, you can use a little adhesive. But you can see there's 3 screws underneath the front one here that are just Phillips. So we're going to flip it around, remove the back one. Being careful not to scratch your new laptop. Now the one in the back is quite a bit thicker than the one in the front, so the thick one goes in the back. Then there's 3 screws in the back. Now the 2 screws that are black, they're a little heavier duty, little bigger size, because they're right at the hinges, so make sure those go back in those holes. Oops, let's unscrew these. But otherwise, they're all the same length. Just want to make sure you get these black ones back in the corners there. Give you that extra durability around the hinge area. I'll have links down below where you can get these parts that I'm using, or what kind of parts I'm using. This is a common upgrade we do here all the time. Just take a otherwise lower end laptop and beef it up just a little bit. So now that we got the screws all removed, we can flip it back over. Open the lid. I'm going to get my little Spudger tool. I'll have a link down below where you can get these. If you have your own tool you want to use, fine, but don't use a screwdriver, something you know, metal. You're going to scratch it. But there's a seam along the top where the palm rest area meets the bottom pan, so we have to start here from the top. I got to get in the seam here. You can see how I'm kind of just lifting it up here and then just carefully slide it along here. Just kind of let the tool do the work. Don't want to pry too much because you want to break anything along the edge here. Oops, sorry guys. The front and the back sometimes are a little stubborn, but you can see I'm just sliding that in there, and that sound is just it releasing itself, so that's a good sound actually. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing carefully, especially in these thin areas here. You don't want to break your palm rest. Can't get a hold of it. Come on, Dale. Do a lot of sliding around, so just make sure you have a good surface you're working on. You're not going to scratch anything. Alright, so we got a good start on it there. I'm going to close my lid carefully. And always be conscious of the screen. You're not squeezing it, and you don't, because you can actually break your screen from the outside if you're not careful. So we got to start over here. Now as you can see along the back, it's still kind of stuck. So what I'm going to do is take my other thin plastic tool, and usually on a corner here, oh, you see the seam along the back here, how it's coming up like that. So just give it a little pop here. There. Do thousands of these all the time, guys, and haven't broke one yet, knock on wood. All right, so here's what we got on the inside. This is our M.2 SATA drive from the factory. It's a 2280, 22 by 80. Our battery, which we are going to remove this. There's a few screws just to be on the safe side. And here's our 4 gig stick, our 2 slots that we're going to add some more RAM to. So let me get rid of the battery here. It's super easy to do. Just don't drop any screws or anything on the motherboard until you get this battery out of there. A lot of cars out there today, huh? This is, you know, if you're really super careful, well, just take the battery out. So it just kind of lifts out from this nut. Right here's where it's connected to the motherboard. It's just going to slide back carefully like that. Get that out of the way. And as an added precaution, after I remove or disconnect the battery, get my finger in there. I'm going to gently open it, and I'm gonna and I was just noticing something. I'm going to hit the power button a few times, hold it, just to discharge any residual power that might be in there, so we're good there. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 4 gig stick of DDR4. It's 2666, and that's what we're going to put back in it. You know, it's just Corsair, good RAM. These are, it's a 16 gig kit, they call it. And we pop the other one in. Try not to touch your pins if you can help it, guys, on any of this stuff, just to be safe. Make sure it snaps in good. Alright, and here's our new drive that we're going to do a clean install of Windows 10 on. Now you can, if you're cloning, you can download Crucial's free Acronis True Image cloning software from their website to clone your old drive onto the new one using a USB adapter, but in this case I'm just doing a clean install. These HPs are pretty straightforward for doing that. So we have one screw we have to remove here to get the drive out of there. So we're going to just unplug it just like that. Get our new drive. Again, it's an M.2 SATA, not an NVMe drive. Pop the screw back in there. Oop. Come on. All right, good and secure. Got our RAM. Now let's pop our battery back in. Be careful of your cables here. when you're sliding this back in, please. It only goes in one way, guys. So just slide it in snug so your holes line back up. Looks good. The clean install shouldn't take too long. Come on, screw. You'd think, being a 10th generation Core i3 on this motherboard, that they would have made this to support an NVMe drive, but it does not. I have tried different types, and it just, like I said, it'll see the drive. You can get Windows installed most of the time, but it just don't work. And I've done a little bit of research on it, and HP tells you got to use an M.2 SATA drive. So we got our battery re-secured, got all of our new parts in it. So let's put our cover back on, get the clean install going. Just carefully snap it back in. Again, don't squeeze your lid on that too tight. If you do, do it right along the edge here. See, I'm just kind of snapping everything back in place. It's all good. All right. Now I'm going to wait to put all my screws and my pads back on here until after I'm done doing the install, just in case. It's just something you learn when you do this every day. I'm going to plug in my AC adapter, which is just a standard HP blue adapter. I'm going to pop in my flash drive, my USB, or my Windows 10 USB installation drive. I'll have a link down below. I made a video on how to create these. You just download the Windows 10 media creation tool from Microsoft to get the latest version of Windows 10, so you can do a clean install, and it'll activate just fine because I already had Windows 10 on it. So let's hit the power button and see if it blows up. Excuse me. Now when you put in new RAM in any of these new laptops or a new drive, mainly the RAM, it takes a little bit of messing around to get it to post for the first time because it's reading the new RAM. Typically they even tell you that I had to do a reset in the BIOS. So don't panic, you just got to be patient and wait for it to post. It looks like it's starting. Alright, so this is normal. It just says CMOS is reset. Enter to reboot the system. That's totally normal. And it should default to my flash drive to boot from that. If not, I believe it's F9 to get to the boot menu, but I'll just let it go for a second. Because there's nothing on our new drive that we just put in there, obviously. Sorry about the snipping, guy. We got snow on the ground this morning, and my winter snipping is coming back. Come on, HP. All right. I'm impatient, so I'm gonna shut it off here. Turn it back on. Just waiting for it to post here, guys. Well, it's not cooperating. Trials and tribulations. Is it off? Is it on? It's off. All right, there we go. I think. All right, So I hit the boot menu F9 button, so I'm going to choose the hard drive to boot, or the flash drive to boot from that. And please no operating system. Yes, I know that. All right, good old HP being difficult here. Trying to get it boot off my flash drive, guys. All right, there it goes. Sorry. So we have Windows 10, 64-bit. I'm going to hit enter. Sorry about the glossy screen, but what can you do? After you do so many of these, you kind of get to know the little quirks. And so I'm just going to choose enter, because English, United States. Oh, good old HP again. My mouse ain't installed yet. Oop. Excuse me, camera guy. I'm hooking up a mouse. Yes. Alright, so I got to accept the license terms here. Just going to walk you through a quick install of Windows 10. There's our new 500 gig unallocated SSD. Click next. So it's going to copy all the files over. This don't take but a few minutes. I won't bore you with this. I'll come back when it's just ready to get into the initial setup. Be back in a minute, guys. All right, guys, we got all the files copied over. You can remove your flash drive now. Just going to walk you through the quick setup here. Getting into Windows, make sure our RAM, everything's being read good. So I'm going to choose US. Keyboard layout. I'm going to skip additional layouts. You can change all this stuff later in settings. I always choose I don't have internet because this part will go quicker. Plus you won't be forced to set up a Microsoft login account just to get to your computer. So click on this one.
Type what you want to name your account. Okay, now
no password. See, now we don't have to put in an email address or set anything up. So I just turn all this stuff off.
And select accept when you're ready.
Once I get the clean, this is a 24 edition, so there won't be too many updates I have to get.
Windows can save your spot.
I just opt out of all this stuff because, again, you can change all this later.
Almost done now. We just need to get a few more things polished up for you, and Windows will be all yours.
Now, I like to, get all the Windows updates, make sure everything's good in the device manager. I'll go to HP website and see if there's any additional chipset drivers, things like that I have to get. Depending on the model, sometimes I download the manufacturer's graphic or video drivers. They tweak them a little bit as opposed to using the Microsoft, but in this case with Intel, it's just going to be standard Intel UHD graphics. Shouldn't be an issue. But it's just a shame that the NVMe drives don't work in these. Again, being a 10th generation, not sure what's up with that, but it's a low price laptop. But it's pretty snappy with the solid state and the i3. Now people always ask me when you do this with onboard memory and you add a larger stick, is it a dual channel? Yes and no. Probably about 8 gigs of it will be in dual channel. It'll match whatever's on board. So 4 gigs of the new stick and 4 gigs of the onboard will run in dual channel. I forget what they call it. It's an Intel technology. But the bottom line is you got 20 gigs of RAM. So, man, my driver for my touchpad apparently isn't installed yet. We're not connected to the internet. But let me just open up File Explorer here. There's our 500 gig M.2 drive. You can see it's all there allocated. My search, I'll type in task. Open up my task manager. See what the RAM says. Go to performance, click on memory. Excuse me. Not 20 gigs, I'm sorry, 16 gigs. We've got two of our two slots. I was thinking about a different computer. Forget all that I said before. So we have two 8 gig sticks in there, total of 16 gigs, which is going to be dual channel. My bad. Again, I do so many of these every day, I get confused. All right, so next thing, like I said, I'll connect to the internet. I'll get all my drivers, get all my Windows updates, make sure everything's good, get my browsers, and we should have a good running little laptop now. Hope the video was helpful. Check out more of my videos. Give me a like if you like it. Give me a sub if you thought it was awesome. And I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.